This weekend marks the first birthday of my son Leo, and that's great. That also means that it's been a year since I bought this boat. So I thought I'd make a quick video about all the stuff I've done so far, for my sanity's sake as well, and also all the stuff that's still left to do. So prepare for a good wrap-up and enjoy. First of all, since so many of you complained about audio quality, I have purchased this little dead cat here that I will from now on use in all of the videos where I'm walking around in the boat, since the internal microphone of the iPhone was so-so. I also recorded this entire video yesterday with the wrong settings on that new microphone. So yeah, here we go again. Douglas is just as excited for this video, and he has a special message to tell you. Please subscribe. Here we go. Thanks, Douglas. After a full year of work, this boat now looks a lot uglier than it used to. Lots of sanding and filling, removed windows, still no doors, but this starboard side is basically ready to paint now. Stern is mostly ready to paint in general, but we'll get a swim platform probably before I'm starting with all the painting, so that's going to be a huge project to come. As you can see, both prop shafts are removed. One of the prop shaft holders is still on here because I still need to remove some of the foam to get access up there. One of the exhaust pipes is completely removed. The other one I still need to crawl into. Lots of sanding and filling back here. That is basically impossible because of the direct sunlight in summer. So I'm just sweating and sweating when I'm working on here, which is the reason I have started on the port side, and about half of that is sanded and filled for now. One big project I'm going to show you from the inside is this stern hatch. So the old, more like emergency exit hatches were in these triangles. So they were tiny and a terrible design in the first place. Those are laminated over, and the big stern exit has been prepared by basically cutting a big hole into it that hopefully fits the stern hatch perfectly. So I'll show you that. Welcome to my mess. That's the stern hatch cut out from the inside, and this is the now repacked, custom-made stern hatch by BSI in Denmark that I picked up with my Nissan Leaf, much to the surprise of the workers there. I put out a video of cutting this hole, as well as fitting the hatch roughly, or checking whether the hole is the correct size. So check that out, I'll link it here. The rudder is partially disassembled right now. So having taken out the nozzles, having taken out the nozzle or the prop shaft holder, I had to partially disassemble this part. Hydraulic cylinder is still in here, but a bit of cleanup to do until this thing will be operational again. Two new access hatches have been cut, so this one and this one, mainly to be able to work on the prop shaft holder here that, as you can see in a previous video, has been completely resin filled, so no access to the screws anymore, and there has been little bit of water in there, some damage, so you can see some cracks in the supports. But yeah, now that I've already removed the foam and worked in here, there is a bunch of space that can be used for wastewater tanks and other equipment that is bathroom related, pumps potentially. The engine rooms are now pretty empty. So this one still has a lot of work to do. That's the port side one. So the diesel engine has been taken out. I've started gutting it, but still a lot of work to do here. The starboard engine room, on the other hand, is mostly prepared for installing the electric motors. So almost everything taken out, and the bilge paint, so that's a 1K paint coat that I have in another video, is on. So it's ready to put the electric motor into it. This is the Nissan EM57 motor, taken from a crashed Nissan Leaf from a Swedish junkyard. Another one back there. This one has the gearbox on it, so it has a welded differential that basically allows to turn a load on only one side of the gearbox. So you can have a load attached here and here as well. And with a car, that's great, but on a boat, the differential would just result in the prop shaft not turning at all because there is a load, and then the side of the gearbox that doesn't have a load attached would turn all the time without doing anything. So that's why the differential had to be welded. Those are basically ready to go. They have the open inverter board inside them. They need to be fitted, obviously, but with that I need to wait until the nozzles are repaired, the prop shafts are back in. So then I'll connect the Python drive, so that's the homokinetic coupling, the constant velocity shaft, I think that's what it's called. So this guy here, to the motor and to the prop shaft. So that will probably come up during winter. One other big project that is partially done, partially still ongoing, is removing all the foam inside the starboard hull. So as you can see, all this now usable space used to be foam filled, still something left on the pipes here. So those are empty pipes that I will run electric wiring, and one of them I could actually run water pipes through, just to be able to guide them through the entire boat. But yeah, this is what it looks like. Here you don't have standing height, so that's about 1.35 meters, which means you can sit on a bed that I'll put down here, but you can't really stand. In order to get dressed and have nice standing height, this is the place to be. So as you can see here, you have about 1.50 meters in length, 1.20 meters in width to get dressed. This whole thing will be underneath the kitchen countertop, so it won't be lost space from the outside, but you'll still be able to change here without having to duck all the time, especially since I'm rather tall. That would be annoying. I won't be sleeping down here too much because this is going to be for guests and children, but still. So we'll at a later point install a small ladder or tiny little stairs down here to get down, and then it should be a usable room that just wasn't there before. Yeah, it's not messy at all. I should have cleaned up before making this video, but that would not be authentic. So here is a second-hand hatch that I got that I'll install in one of the standard 60 by 60 centimeter hatch cutouts where one of the hatches was broken. And this is where the starboard diesel tank used to go. It was in terrible condition, so corrosion, and I think it was probably a bit leaky, which is why there is still some diesel, oil, sludge, disgusting stuff down there that I have yet to clean up. So in here I'll put a stainless steel freshwater / drinking water tank that still has to be made. On the other side, the 450 liter diesel tank is still in. We've had that professionally cleaned, and now it can be used as a gray water tank for all the water you get from using the shower or washing dishes and stuff like that. So not quite the most disgusting stuff, but still not very nice. Windows are a big topic. The windows that used to be in here, those acrylic ones, can't be used anymore for two reasons. One, they're in terrible condition. Some are cracked. Most are very, very deeply scratched. And the other one is they're not insulating at all. So since I will be putting 5 centimeters, so that's 2 inches of Armor Flex or K-Flex, so one of the self-adhesive foam insulations on here that's also fire retardant, I should also be insulating the windows, because otherwise all the heat from my heat pump is gonna go out in winter. That brings me to another topic, heat pump and cooling. So since the motors are liquid cooled, you can see the water pipes here, here we go, water pipes, and up there the inverter. The inverter is actually what will generate the most heat. I need some sort of cooling mechanism. So the idea is, instead of having seawater in here somewhere, to use this guy. So this used to be a seawater intake, but on the other side of the hull I will attach a closed loop cooling circuit, so a keel cooler that will just circulate on the outside of the hull to exchange heat with the seawater, but that way I can have antifreeze in the cooling loop. That will not only cool the motors, but also circulate the water through the water-air heat pump that I'm planning to install, so that in winter, when air temperature is much lower than water temperature, at least normally, here in Hamburg it's so-so, I can heat up the cooling loop a bit with the outside seawater before taking the energy out for the heat pump. The Helm has mostly been gutted. It will stay in place in the current planning. As you can see, the instrument panels that came with the old Yanmar engines are out. They belong to the engines, and I sold them to the guys that bought the engines as well. Some of the instrumentation is gone as well. Lots of ugly holes showing underneath, so this is not my cutting, this is how they were originally installed, but you don't see it when you have anything in there. Some of these switches I really dig. They're kind of original and belong to the boat, so since I don't see anything wrong with them that wouldn't be working, I'll probably leave those in, as well as this original panel from the shipyard. So I'll probably keep those things in and find some new use for these switches, including the horn. So excited for the horn. So yeah, that's that. The fuel gauges are one thing I will definitely not need anymore. I may just use them for water tanks because the sensors are already installed, but I'll see about that. The big searchlight that used to go on here, I will definitely reinstall because that thing is really, really cool. I can give you a quick glimpse on that. So this is a big GE searchlight that I'll retrofit with some LEDs so that I actually have a searchlight on top. I think that's a cool idea. Something I'll need to get started with quite soon is getting rid of this thing. So this is a non-fixed part. So as you can see, here's some silicone. You can also see a screw here. Basically, this part covers the steel assembly that I will now show you from the inside. Here we go. So this steel part is where the crane of a cruise ship used to attach to. I've got the same thing up front in the bow, where it's a bit more accessible. So here's what it looks like from the inside. And this is what it looks like from the outside. So plastic pieces that are screwed in order to cover the steel underneath. Those things are not necessary anymore because I'm not planning to attach this thing to a cruise ship anytime soon. The crane mechanism, at least currently, doesn't work, so I can't even use it to put the boat into the water since it's just gonna topple. The center of mass is above this this little steel part, so if you put a crane on here, lift it up, the boat's just gonna flip, which means those things need to be removed, and then I don't have big holes that are just sealed with silicone underneath the waterline. At least this one here is underneath the waterline, that are just looking for trouble. So those will be glassed in and connected to a hull after removing the steel construction on the inside. So top deck is sanded. This is the aftermath of my failed, let's just paint a tiny little bit with epoxy primer to see if the sanding was fine. More out of curiosity, it needs to be sanded down back again, but hey, that's fine. Yeah, so this whole deck will be covered with solar panels eventually, which means not much sunbathing going on here, but lots of solar area to fill the batteries. I extended this hatch, so this used to be square, so a 60 by 60 centimeter hatch. Now that I've extended it, I'm not gonna bang my head against the back of a hatch anymore, like I did when originally picking up a boat. This here is the old hatch. You can see it's square, it's 60 by 60 or 62 by 62. And this one is the new hatch, so that one is 60 by 90 and will hopefully solve that problem. And that's mostly it. Still quite a bit of work to do, as you can see. And it keeps getting dirty in here, even though there's a roof on top. But just the general harbor stuff flying around in the air. This hatch will either be only used for ventilation, so only with a tiny portion that can open, or closed completely, because there will be solar panels on top of it, so you can't have a normal hatch open. And yeah, this is where the swim platform will go, so that we have any outside space to spend time on at sea, because you don't want to be stuck inside this plastic box for the entire time. I will now continue sanding and filling which is not exciting and not something I can make good videos of, because I already have a bunch of videos of sanding and filling. I will do some structural repairs and then get started on the swim platform, I guess. Plans may change. I originally planned to paint this summer, but that would mean that I have to paint everything and then do some other works on the outside of the hull, like swim platform and doors/windows, which would not be a good idea because then the paint is all messed up again. So I'll probably paint straight before putting the boat into the water spring to summer next year. Until then, the boat is still gonna look ugly. I'm still gonna fix a bunch of things. The interior will basically stay the way it is, but I'll do all the repairs and all the additions on the outside and prepare everything so that we can put her into the water next year. And then the winter season, I'll probably work on putting the motors in and getting all the electronics ready so that I can at least go somewhere in the close vicinity of this harbor. It won't be anywhere near long-range proof or ocean going or anything, but it will be possible to move it in a modular setup that can be extended afterwards. Yeah. So that's a quick 1-year update. I have done a bunch of things, but there's still at least 4 times as much work left as I have done so far, and I haven't even touched the interior at all. So bear with me. It's going to be an exciting time and a big project. Thanks for sticking until the end of the video, and see you next time.